Hello Manchester United fans. Diogo Dalot reveals RUBEN AMORIM'S speech that left entire Man United squad in stitches. Manchester United head coach RUBEN AMORIM has only been at the club for a brief period of time, but he has already made a strong impression on some of his players. Diogo Dalot has shared an insight into the early months of RUBEN AMORIM'S tenure at Manchester United. And the Portugal international says AMORIM'S brutal honesty has been well received by the Red Devils dressing room. AMORIM was United's first choice to replace Erik ten Hag when the Dutchman was sacked back in October. The 40-year-old became one of Europe's most sought-after coaches during his time in Sporting Lisbon, but he has endured a baptism of fire at Old Trafford with the Red Devils set to record their lowest league finish in the Premier League era. While results have been up and down, it's hoped AMORIM will be the man to end United's current malaise. He has certainly made an impression on his players, and his attempts to speak English from day one were well received, according to Dalot, even if his compatriot did slip back into his mother tongue. The defender told TalkSport, "It was funny because sometimes he was so used to it in the beginning to speak Portuguese that he would start speaking Portuguese to all the players. And the players were like, 'Boss, come on, you're speaking Portuguese.' And he was like, 'Oh, sorry.' And he started already with English, but it's a normal adaptation. I've been there. When I arrived, it was exactly the same." Dalot continued, "I think speaking English, was something that he obviously tried to make sure as soon as he arrived, to adapt really quick for everybody not to feel left out. Obviously, sometimes it's easier for him to communicate in Portuguese in the first few months. But now I think it became completely normal for him to speak English." AMORIM has pulled no punches with some of his assessments since arriving at Manchester United, including his claim that the current team might be the worst in the club's entire history. But Dalot says he and his teammates value their manager's honesty, explaining, "I think it's one of the best compliments that you can give about him, is that he's really honest. I think you can see that when he speaks, he's not trying to give the right answer. He just speaks from the heart. And it's difficult for a manager to always be completely honest. But I think it's something that since I've known him as a manager, he's always been like that. And then, people will judge him by his words, by his actions. But that's part of football. We, football players, will be judged by what we do on the pitch. So as a manager, you're always exposed to that. But I think he's a really good communicator, so he will be fine." Scott McTominay speaks out about Man United issue. You have to know your place. Scott McTominay left Manchester United for Napoli last summer, and the Scotland midfielder has argued that he was often played out of position during his time at Old Trafford. Scott McTominay has opened up about feeling misprofiled during his early days in Manchester United's first team. The 28-year-old midfielder made 255 appearances for his boyhood club, but has argued that he spent most of his time being played in the wrong position. McTominay, who made his senior debut under Jose Mourinho in 2017, found his footing in the United squad during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time as manager, often playing next to Fred. The duo, referred to as McFred, was a staple for United throughout Solskjaer's tenure. However, under Erik ten Hag, McTominay took on a more attacking midfield role, showcasing his goal-scoring abilities. Last season, McTominay notched up an impressive 10 goals across competitions, at times earning United crucial points. Despite his contributions, he only started 18 Premier League games and ended up moving to Napoli in the summer for £25.7 million. He has thrived in Naples, playing a key part in Antonio Conte's squad as they contest Inter Milan for the Scudetto, sitting 3 points behind the league leaders. The Scotland international has quickly become a fan favorite, scoring 7 goals and providing 4 assists in 31 games across all competitions. In an interview with The Athletic, McTominay spoke about his first-team breakthrough and explained that he was essentially learning on the job as a deep-lying midfielder. "When I got into the first team, I was quite misprofiled in where I was playing," he admitted. "It wasn't the fault of any coaches. My strengths have always been getting into the box, scoring goals, being a problem in there. But I was being used as a number 6 or as a centre-back, and that has never really been my game. But when you're playing for Manchester United and you're 20, you can't knock on the manager's door and say that you expect to be playing at number 8 ahead of Paul Pogba. It's not realistic. You have to know your place and do what you're asked to do," McTominay added. "In the last few seasons, I began to get into the box a bit more, to score more goals, and then last year was my best one. They would always sign someone who wouldn't necessarily be what people expected them to be. My mentality was that I was always there, ready to go, ready to take my opportunity. I always wanted to prove my worth, to show I could play every game. It's not the sort of thing that affects me. You can only be in control of what you do. Discussing his decision to move to Napoli, McTominay is enjoying his time in Serie A. Things were difficult in Manchester. I didn't know what was happening exactly, McTominay said. And you instantly know Napoli, the passion of the fans, the quality of the league. People have to be careful when people. Man United news, Jadon Sancho transfer takes fresh twist as Bruno Fernandes given Real Madrid advice. Manchester United are likely to need to sell as well as buy during the summer transfer window, and there are a lot of moving parts for head coach RUBEN Amorim to deal with. Manchester United's recent revival came to an end on Tuesday night, but there were some positives to be taken from the defeat at Nottingham Forest. Lenny Yoro and Harry Maguire both returned to action after recent injuries, leaving RUBEN Amorim's squad in slightly healthier shape ahead of Sunday's derby clash with Manchester City. Defeat against City could see Amorim's men slip to 15th if other results go against them. However, the Portuguese can point to his team's victory in the reverse fixture for motivation. Regardless of what happens between now and May, United fans are anticipating a busy summer transfer window. That means players leaving as well as new faces arriving, with Christian Eriksen among those poised to leave Old Trafford. Jadon Sancho is also expected to depart, though Chelsea still have the option of paying to get out of their obligation to sign the on-loan winger permanently. That's among the areas in focus in Mirror Football's roundup of the latest Manchester United stories. There are also a few updates from elsewhere as Amorim prepares to face the media ahead of his team's return to action. Here's the latest from around Old Trafford. Maresca Sancho stance. Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca spoke about Jadon Sancho's end product ahead of the Blues match against Tottenham on Thursday night. However, he was reluctant to say too much in relation to a permanent move. All the players that are with us, I love all of them, but in this moment it's the moment to finish well, and then it's not the moment to think about next season, Maresca said. I'm completely focused about 9 games, 2 months to go, I'm completely focused about that. Then what happens in summer, we'll see, the Italian continued. But all the ones that are here, I want them happy to be here. Fernandes Madrid role identified. Former Manchester United assistant manager René Meulensteen believes Bruno Fernandes would be a perfect fit for Real Madrid. The United captain has been linked with a summer move to the Bernabeu, having been at Old Trafford for more than 5 years with just 2 cups to show for it. One thing for me is certain, he's an absolute winner, Meulensteen told Poker Firma. He plays all the games, he's never injured, and he's very committed to United and wants the best for the club. Every footballer has ambitions. I'm sure he wants to win trophies for United, but if a team like Real Madrid were to come knocking for him in the summer, he would fit like a glove there. Luka Modric is turning 40 soon, and Madrid needs someone in midfield with that kind of passing range who can supply Rodrygo, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. With Fernandes's passing range, Real Madrid would be unbelievable. A Manchester United signing could now become an accidental success. RUBEN Amorim made a couple of obvious mistakes with his team's selection at Nottingham Forest when he could have drawn a line after the internationals. Manchester United have failed to score in 11 of their 47 fixtures this season, and their most threatening centre-forward at Nottingham Forest was a centre-back. RUBEN Amorim has not often contradicted himself, yet Joshua Zirkzee, whom he said is not a number 9, less than 2 months ago started their 16 days after United's actual number 9 scored for the first time in 22 games. Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund commanded £108.5 million in transfer fees, and one could argue neither is a proper number 9. Højlund barely got a sniff after an initially purposeful halftime introduction against Forest. Spending the best part of £30 million on a left-back come winger and not investing in a forward in the winter transfer window was the latest inexplicable call by the power brokers at United. The squad's attack has been halved since the start of the season, and they have had a -goal difference since mid-December. Sir Jim Ratcliffe claims Jason Wilcox has the best eyes in football. He did not look for and wide enough for a goal-scorer. Wilcox's former employers, Manchester City, have had a shot in the arm from Omar Marmoush, and Marco Asensio has got the goals while Marcus Rashford has had the headlines at Aston Villa. United went 1-0 down for the 23rd time this season at Forest. Leicester City are the only Premier League side that have conceded the opening goal more often this season. Opponents know the score against the team that struggles to score. Forest were the latest to get a head start and they held on to Anthony Ilanga's 5th-minute goal for close to 100 minutes, including the lengthy added time that extended each half. United's clearest chances fell to the battering ram Harry Maguire. Benching Maguire was peculiar too. United have enough fit defenders and wingers for Nasser Mazraoui to assume the squad role he was set for when he joined, yet Amorim played him in a role he was liable to be vulnerable in against Ilanga and Morgan Gibbs-White. Mazraoui was flustered by the pair for Forest's winning goal. Amorim needs specialist centre-halves against a City side even without Erling Haaland. Lenny Yoro, United's most accomplished performer at Forest, a positive that flew under the radar in the wake of a 13th Premier League defeat in 8 months. Manuel Ugarte was the fall guy for the failings of Xerxes and Alejandro Garnacho in front of him. Ugarte was away with Uruguay in Bolivia last week and had played in only one of United's 3 matches before his long-haul flight to Montevideo via El Alto. Casemiro's international days are over and he has been fit for the entirety of the season, which would legislate for his staying on beyond the interval. It was remiss to move Bruno Fernandes further forward when he has been so influential.